So, YouTube, like, subscribe, share, hit the bell notification. I just sold another piano at the Guitar Center. I was there picking up, I've been telling you guys I need another MIDI controller so I can do some tutorials with some software that I'm using. So my MIDI controller, I believe it's only a 25 key MIDI controller, and I needed something bigger. So I'm at the Guitar Center, and black folks be nosy like me. And I see this couple, and I noticed that a guy is trying to sell them a Williams keyboard. And I said, excuse the conversation. I said, excuse me, are you guys looking for a keyboard? Did somebody say keyboards? Pianist? And the sales guy, who was younger, was trying to push off a Williams. And I said, your son, I got the 411 on the son. I said, is he just learning the piano, or what's going on? And they explained to me, it was like, we want to buy him a piano to see if he gets into it, A, B, C, and D. And I said, well, if you're going to spend the money, or if you're going to do something wrong, meaning that it's a phase, at least do it the right way. And I started walking around the center, and I took them to some different boards. I said, this board here is $300 more. It was a group of Rolands, and the representative at Rolands was like, man, go ahead and sell the board. But that was I'm not gonna say it was out of their price range, but they didn't want to spend I think it was like $699 for that one. They didn't have the Yamaha. They did not have the Yamaha DGX 670, which would have been more. But I told them, I said, if you guys are gonna spend the money, I said, let's look around here. And I came along some Casios. Now we know that Casio has a Privia brand. Casio is a good brand. Don't let the Casio fool you. Very, very good brands. I believe they make a nice line of digital keyboards. And I found a board that was for $399. So it was comparable to the Williams piano. I said, if you guys are going to buy him something, pound for pound, this technically cost $39, $49, $59, $69, $60 more. And I said, even though it costs $60 more, he is going to be much happier with this. Touch the keys. Now there's a Yamaha sitting to the side. Now feel those Yamaha keys. You feel the weight, the similarity in the weights. I said that Williams is going to have a plasticky feel. It's going to feel more toy-like. So pound for pound, he's going to like this one. And I told him, as a piano or a keyboardist, and I told him, I have mini boards at home. You know, like 50 Cent had many men that wish death upon him. I got many boards, from Yamahas to Casios to Rolands. Don't have a Nord yet. And side note, Roland does have a stage piano, and I was like, "Ooh, okay." Felt good to the tips. I was getting in the pocket. And the kid at first looked kind of pissy because I had stepped on his sale. However, toward the end of the transaction, the man gave me a dap. I said, if you guys are going to do anything, I said, buy him this Casio, buy him a sustain pedal. And they actually left with the Casio. The man was like, I think he's a little mad with you. at first you're mad, but like I'm saying, I can sell. And I'm not selling you, I can upsell. And you know what the upsell was? I said, buy him something that he's not going to need to come back here again because he's upgraded. I have a Yamaha DGX 660B as in boy. And you guys see me on that board non-stop. It was at the time the best bang for the buck of Yamahas. Best bang for the buck. Now they have the 670B and they took it up a notch. And I told them about that story. I said, I bought it. And I said, I've never had to come back and search for another digital piano again. You guys see me playing on it. And by the time I finally get really good. So see how I threw that in there. By the time I really get good, now it's time for me to upgrade to the CP88. But when you're trying to sell something, don't sell on the basis of cheap. This is the cheapest option. He's just learning. Let's get him this. No, sell them on the basis of, well, tell me about your son. Tell me about him. They were actually happy because the Williams did not have MIDI connection. It was like, man, this Casio actually had a MIDI cord and you can connect, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you got to put people in the correct. You got to put them in. You got to sell them what's correct. And I actually upsold them. And the guy was like, I upsold them in the amount of $100 plus tax. But I told him, one thing, you're not going to be coming back here again. He's going to love this board. This is going to be the board that he probably is going to give to his kids, if he has kids. Because even though the price was comparable to the Williams, the quality was better. The quality, it wasn't a throwaway Holmes board. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't a board that you just throw away. Sounded good to the touch, MIDI connection. You got to not sell for cheap. I don't sell for cheap. I sell based on the need. I'm like, okay, if he does this, matter of fact, he ain't gonna even get his board away. He gonna keep going with his piano. They said, do you have a card? Do you teach? I said, here's my number. I also have a YouTube channel in case he wants to pick up some inspiration for free. But bam, the guy shook my hand. I said, I'm just trying to put you in the right board, so that if you do spend, if you are going to spend the $339 and some change, let's literally look at it. Let's not go by the first option. Let's look at all the other options within that price range. We even went up 300 more. And I said, man, if he really gets good, he's gonna want this rolling. And I told him, I'm selling you something that I would personally have in my collection. Not to say that Williams is a bad brand, because I've played Williams, but I don't have a Williams in my collection. If you gifted me a Williams, I ain't gonna say no. But I sold them something at my level that I would still buy. Man, if I had to buy anything just to gig up, just so I could hook up to some sound systems, it would actually be this board. So think about that the next time, especially as a salesperson. Next time you recommend, I came to you as I'm not a pianist, I'm not a keyboardist. I came to you as an aspiring a person that really enjoys music. I would probably turn that whole entire fiscal year of the Guitar Center around, like 180. It's like, oh my God, this whole store done turned around. I would learn how to move lines. I would say, you need to talk to him. You need to talk to him. I'm not a guitarist, but I can tell you when I feel some really good guitar strings, the girth of it, how they slide through the fingers, I'm somebody that just really enjoys the craft. Peace.